Welcome to this WEBN special, The Power of Sports. I'm Juliana Bruno.
And I'm John Newton. Whether you're sitting on the couch watching a baseball game,
or at a friend's house watching football,
or at the rink cheering for your favorite team,
sports have a way of bringing people together. That's no secret.
That's right, Juliana. But sports also serve another purpose for many people.
And that's helping them overcome challenges. From a disability to feeling a little homesick, sports can help pull you through.
And that's where this WEBN special comes in.
We're going to tell those stories and shine a light on some of the organizations using sports to make a difference.
Our first story takes us to the softball diamond.
Alexa Ponce began her college career at Boston University as just a student.
She shortly realized she needed to be more than a student.
She's now a senior.
Our reporter Medina Shehi tells us what kept Ponce at BU.
If it wasn't for softball, I would have stayed at home in California.
Alexa Ponce felt homesick moving across the country for school. She then realized how much she missed softball.
Dad was helping me move in, and he was like, "Isn't that kind of funny? You know, the softball field's right, and you can see it from your window." I was like, "Oh man, well, I'm not playing anymore." And then I literally saw them go out to practice for a week straight, and I was dying. I was like, I can't believe I'm not playing anymore. This is terrible. I miss it. And although I didn't get the opportunity to get a scholarship and stuff, I still wanted to play. And so I just kind of took a chance, and I was like, I'll regret it if I don't ask Coach Waters if I can try out.
Ponce's head coach, Ashley Waters, believes it was fate.
I think Alexa just coming to BU is almost one of those things that it was destiny. It just kind of worked out. I looked at Alexa when I was at Harvard, on the recruiting trails, and, I don't know what kind of had transpired from there, but I ended up transitioning over here, and, we had lost kind of contact on that recruiting path, but, when her name popped up in my email, it was kind of a no-brainer to have her come out and try out, and, some things I think are just meant to be, and I think Alexa playing for BU softball was one of them.
Joining the softball team helped Ponce gain a new family.
I come from a huge family, there's 4 of us and siblings, and I have so many cousins and aunts, everyone's always at my house, and I'm used to being surrounded by that support and, that unconditional love of just always around me. We fight, we mess around, we laugh, whatever, but I'm used to having a big family, and so coming here where you have to force yourself to go meet people and go out and talk to people and make friends, and that's really hard.
I can actually recall maybe she had made the team, and it was 2 or 3 days later, I saw her just full-blown in the mix, joking around with them as if she had known them forever. And that was a pretty cool moment for me to see that someone could join this team and, within a day or two, all of a sudden becomes one of them. She was supposed to always be there.
Ponce knows that she would have regretted going back home.
It gave me, friendships that people that are going to be at my wedding one day, and I don't know, I get emotional thinking about it that it's almost over because I've made such good friends here, and people that have made a lasting impact on my life, and I think that I've become a better person.
Ponce says her future plans are to apply to medical school this summer. Reporting for WEBN in Boston, I'm Medina Shehi.
Our next story takes us to Babson College.
And it's there where head softball coach Dave Kanan is fighting off cancer.
Reporter Nate Rollins has how the team is helping him through this battle.
I think that we worked extremely hard, as we do every season, but there's just something bigger driving us this time.
And that bigger thing for Charlie Guscott and the Babson softball team was their head coach, Dave Kanan's health.
Found out that I had a tumor in my colon. It was pretty good size and had to be removed immediately. And they told me he was pretty sure that it was cancerous. And so they took it out and they confirmed it and told me I needed 5 to 6 months of chemo.
After those months, Coach Kanan entered the season in remission.
He said, let's just celebrate the good times. We said it was our first win of the season. So
there were times that I just didn't even feel like getting out of bed or couldn't get out of bed.
And softball helped him pull through.
I just thought, okay, I get to see the softball team today, and they're always upbeat and so supportive and encouraging. They gave me a scrapbook, probably about a foot thick, and with all kinds of messages, and to this day I still read it.
Beavers say Coach Kanan has impacted them well beyond the softball diamond.
And anything that we go through in life here at school is not as big as we think it is. So a loss does not mean that our world is going to end.
It's taught us more than just how to field a ball, how to be a great teammate, but to be a good person too.
It's kind of helped change my life for the better. I came in here knowing that like I wanted to be a part of business. It just kind of helped me figure out that like I don't just belong to a school, I belong to a family.
Coach Kanan says he's had a simple message for his team.
Don't let the little things bother you.
Coach Kanan says he's feeling a lot better than he was just a few months ago. Reporting from Wellesley for WEBN, I'm Nate Rollins.
Nearly 1.25 million Americans have type 1 diabetes.
And Kylie Gallagher is one of those.
But she isn't letting it keep her off the court.
And that's where we bring in our reporter Tyler Robichaux live.
Tyler?
Kylie Gallagher is a sophomore at MIT and plays on the basketball team. But getting to this point wasn't easy. 7 years ago, Gallagher was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
My whole family was on a road trip. We were going across the country for 3 weeks, staying in like an RV. And so I got really sick towards the end, and I just felt very like nauseous. I couldn't eat anything. And then I ended up going to the hospital in Ohio for about 3 days.
Gallagher's life was changed after that trip.
It's a lot at first, a lot of like numbers, like calculating what you eat, what to give. But it gets easier as first, it was a lot of like me and my parents, like we did a lot of this stuff together, but now obviously going to school and being on my own, I do a lot of it, and now I also have like a pump that does a lot of the math for me. So it's definitely a big learning curve, but it's not too difficult.
Even with this learning curve, the MIT sophomore's passion for basketball never wavered.
The biggest thing like after being diagnosed was like not letting it limit what I do. And like all my coaches have always been like super understanding and super helpful.
Her coach at MIT agrees that Gallagher doesn't allow the diagnosis to limit her on or off the court.
Sometimes I would say like I wouldn't even know that she has diabetes. It's everything she does, she's doing it in the background. She's managing the condition constantly, right? 24/7. She has to think about this and manage it. But it really doesn't seem to come onto the court.
I think some people think, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, but just being like, it's fine, like you can do it, and a lot of people do it. I hope that they can learn from that.
Gallagher continues to manage her diabetes and her commitment to basketball. Starting next season, she will serve as a team captain. Reporting live in Boston, I'm Tyler Robichaux for WEBN News.
Steve Harrington not only is a huge basketball fan, but he's also a gay man.
And he says he wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the sport of basketball.
Which is why at age 62, he's still lacing up his basketball shoes, playing in the Boston Gay Basketball League, a league he founded.
I went to the South End to attend one of his games and found out how a basketball saved him.
Played in every gay game since they started in 1982. So I've played basketball in Sydney, Australia, and just got back from Paris, playing at the 10th Gay Games. So I've played around I mean, it's kind of my life.
Yes, basketball is Steve Harrington's life. That's because it saved his twice.
The first was in high school when I knew I was gay. And every time I left the school or my house, I had a basketball under my arm. So I never had to explain why I didn't have a girlfriend. It was I was devoted to basketball. Secondly, because I was always sports-oriented, I never did drugs, I never drank, I never smoked. And I was diagnosed HIV positive in 1990, and I credit basketball with keeping me healthy and going today 30 years later.
So Harrington founded the Gay Basketball League 25 years ago.
Doing physical activity is sometimes really difficult, so having an opportunity, if you've never played sports before, to come out and give it a try, and nobody's going to make fun of you, and everybody, you're going to develop a real family.
Eric Wolven has been competing against the 62-year-old for years.
We were on the same team a couple years ago. He's one of the nicest guys. He cares about the people in the league and the people he's with. Just a genuinely good person.
Staying on the hardwood here, did you know that nearly 24,000 adults a year in the United States will be diagnosed with a cancerous tumor?
And in 2010, Mike Slonina's mother, Betsy Cullen, was one of those.
As a way of healing, Slonina went to the basketball court.
That's where we bring in our reporter, Max Cohen, live in Boston.
Max?
Mike Slonina is the head of his basketball charity organization, A Shot for Life. Not only does the charity raise money for those suffering from the disease, it also recognizes kids battling cancer like Saul Polanco. Polanco, a 6-year-old boy battling leukemia, was put in the game to make a basket.
So Saul is having a blast. That's all I care about, honestly. I'm really happy to highlight the two departments, and but we're all really excited that Saul is having such a good time. And the goal of A Shot for Life, like I said, is to impact a lot more families like Saul's family. And so we're taking very measured steps to get there. But for today, I'm just really happy to see Saul having a great time.
One reason we have the main reasons for Saul is, suffering from cancer, and we'll try to fight that, help him fight it. A little competition, secondly, but for the main reason we have for Saul and his family.
So I think having the superheroes here, he loves superheroes, and having such a big community come together to support him is so important and just such an awesome experience for him to have.
Slonina started A Shot for Life after his mom was falsely diagnosed with a brain tumor.
So A Shot for Life started when I was 17. My mom was diagnosed with what was thought to be a malignant brain tumor. She ended up being okay, but it sort of motivated the start of the organization, which is where I shot for 24 hours straight from all over the floor right here in this gym. Shot 73%, A Shot for Life was born. That event actually made national headlines and gave us the base to build sort of the skyscraper that A Shot for Life is becoming. And the Battle of the Badges is an example of that. It's the exclusive charity basketball game between the Boston Police and the Boston Fire Department. The Zachem Bridge, the TD Guard, the Prudential Building are all going to light up tonight. We do a police motorcade for a guest. This year his name is Saul Polanco. He's running around here having a great time, and we're excited about today.
Slonina says A Shot for Life isn't done growing yet. He wants it to become the biggest basketball charity organization in the world. Live in Boston for WEBN News, I'm Max Cohen.
When we return in this WEBN special, we'll look at how two organizations that differ in size are trying to make an impact through sports.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to this WEBN special, The Power of Sports.
Sports can also serve as a way to raise awareness to a challenge or for a hardship.
At Harvard, sports has done just that to two women's lacrosse players.
Tate Green is a junior on the Crimson.
And her dad is Tim Green, a former NFL player.
And he has ALS.
And at the end of last year, Green and the Crimson launched a fundraiser for the disease. They raised over $2 million.
That I have a whole 28 teammates and then 2 coaches that always have my back and support me. I wouldn't even be at Harvard if it wasn't for my dad. I wouldn't have been playing lacrosse if it wasn't for him. He's always pushed me to be the best person I could be. He always told me that if you work really hard, there's a potential to go someplace like Harvard.
Shay Jenkins is a freshman on the Crimson.
But it's not just her lacrosse skills that make her unique.
While finishing up her high school career, she noticed her vision getting increasingly worse.
And lacrosse helped her realize that.
It definitely has put my focus on lacrosse, on my eyes a little bit more. Because my sister, we just found out a few weeks ago, actually has cataracts, but never knew because she doesn't play sports. I wasn't a huge offensive threat in my high school career just because I wasn't confident enough with the ball. I couldn't see it all the time when it was in the air. I would have to motion to my captain, don't pass it to me right now, Yeah, so definitely more tentative of a player. Right now, I definitely feel like I've gained a lot of confidence from being able to see the ball. I am a defensive player right now and I love it, but just being able to see the ball is a huge game changer, especially on the circle out there. I would have never have been able to catch the ball like I've been able to last year or my senior year.
Allie Fuller is not only trying to change the perception of Dorchester, but she's trying to change the kids' lives in the city.
And she's trying to do so one kick at a time through martial arts.
Our reporter Sam Gordon watched a couple classes and talked with Allie and a few of her students.
For all of us as humans, at the heart of it, we want to be able to connect to a community. We want to feel as though we're supported. And I think that is really important for everybody.
Allie Fuller is not only trying to connect to a community, she's trying to fix one. She owns Level Ground Mixed Martial Arts in Dorchester.
Have workforce development programming where we teach the students how to be trainers, we teach the students how to be gym managers. We have a college access program that helps them transition seamlessly into a post-secondary opportunity, and then we have athletics.
Andres Quinones is one of many students who have benefited from Fuller's mission.
Allie set me up with, she actually helped me get into college, she helped me apply. She helped me enroll. Mind you, she actually found a few scholarships for me, so I ended up going to school for free.
Fuller says sports are a perfect way to make a difference.
We don't look at our students as clients or in any particular way other than family. And I think that our students really feel that and feel the genuineness of our love towards them. And then I think that allows them to connect with us, to one another very well. And we all do that through the means of the sport.
I had friends that wasn't good. I have friends that were good. But, Level Ground showed me the right path, and now I don't do anything, I just come to work, go home, and go to college.
Without this place, I would be in a, I would be in a bad spot.
Allie says her next goal is to offer healthy food options for her students at her gym. Reporting from Dorchester, for WEBN, I'm Sam Gordon.
Our next story takes us to Attleboro.
And it's there where we find one man combining his love for both radio and sports to give children with autism the opportunity to shine one show at a time.
Who did you want to play this year and why? Doesn't mean if it's in the league, out of the league, that's be something that they totally irritated you.
For Dominic Damiano, sports and radio have always been his passion. So over a decade ago, he decided to start his own program. He called it 4 Deep Sports Talk.
When I was in the service station down south, they had unbelievable coverage of high school youth sports. So I wanted to do the same thing up here. And then a friend of mine that already had a radio show in Taunton, he recommended, why don't you do a sports show? I said, well, if I'm going to do a sports show, it's going to be based off kids, not pros, because I already have that.
And it soon became something more than just a place to highlight and cover sports teams in southeastern Massachusetts.
Produced a show with Carrie Quintel. She's a local lawyer in North Attleboro. She brought in a gentleman, John Raposo, who I don't know if he runs it, but he's one of the big wigs over there at Attleboro Enterprises, and he said, would you mind interviewing, helping kids that are into sports or just looking for that experience, what you offer kids, the high school and with the college interns, that experience? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. But the first thing I told him is I don't know nothing about kids with autism.
Alex Mayo has interned at 4 Deep Sports Talk for the past 9 months. He handles the technical side. His father, Bob, has watched him develop from when he first walked into the studio.
We're using cameras at the games and doing the broadcasting, the streaming live on Facebook and all that. He's going to have a lot of experience that he's going to be able to apply when he gets to school. He's probably going to have a leg up on a lot of the other kids in the program.
But Alex has gained more than a leg up.
He's working as part of a team, which Alex struggles with. For the first time, he had something that he could talk to with his sports-interested cousins. They were really interested in what he does behind the scenes. They all are sports fans, but they never had anybody in the family that was involved in broadcasting the sporting events. So now he's got something kind of in common with them and something he can talk to with them about that's sports related.
Justin Ferrara is also a 4 Deep Sports Talk intern. He reads the scores.
Attleboro 58, Canfield 54, Bourne 85.
He's been with Damiano for over 2 years. Justin's father, Glenn, says it's given his son a voice, not only on the radio, but in life.
Certainly wants to expand beyond this. And when you talk about, possibly him having something that he can move towards from a career standpoint, this has really got him energized and excited and gives him a path to look forward to.
Justin's mother, Angela, says there's only one way to describe hearing her son on the radio.
It's amazing.
Damiano will get his next set of interns in the fall. Reporting for WEBN, I'm Angel Salcido.
Everyone have a fantastic weekend.
Another organization using sports to try to make a difference for those with disabilities is the Special Olympics.
The organization provides training to over 5 million athletes from 172 countries.
Here in Massachusetts, the Special Olympics plays a big role for those with disabilities.
Indeed, there are over 13,000 athletes competing in nearly 500 events a year. Across the state, there are 172 programs.
And Whitman, or the Panthers as they call themselves after the local high school, is one of those programs.
The Panthers practice once a week, and we went down to one of their practices. Take a look.
And that gentleman on the right, that's George Coffey. He runs Whitman's Special Olympics.
He's been involved in the program as a coach and volunteer for 2 decades.
And he explains how important coaching is for these athletes.
Coaching is very, very important in Special Olympics because you have athletes that, because of certain issues, they sometimes have trouble remembering instructions. And we do the basics. At every sport, we do the basics, as you saw here. Passing, backing up, something as simple as backing up on defense and passing off to someone. We drill it over and over and over again. And I'll tell you something about Special Olympics. All the coaches have to be certified in their sport, and we're all trained in how to deal with Special Olympic athletes. Now, I coach youth soccer, kids that don't have disabilities. There's absolutely no training requirements, none, no type of certification. Special Olympics, they're all over us. You have to be first aid certified, have to be CPR certified, concussion protocols. The program is great. It's an absolutely fantastic program. What we do is, what would you like to be able to do? Okay. Now let's find out what we have to help you learn to do. It's unbelievable the feeling you get out of doing it.
And it's really because of volunteers like George that the Special Olympics is what it is.
Certainly, George is one of nearly 13,000 who volunteer their time for the Special Olympics right here in the Bay State.
From coaching to fundraising, the volunteers do it all.
And fundraisers are very important for the Special Olympics.
Our reporter Kayla LaRosa was at a Special Olympics fundraiser and has more on their purpose.
I love basketball.
What part is your favorite?
Making 3-pointers.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say.
Lynn basketball player Michael Joyce and coach Stephen Basden are a dynamic duo. And they're here for Special Olympics March Madness.
We're very appreciative of being able to have another opportunity to play, especially in a building like this with this much energy.
This Special Spirit basketball game is held at Northeastern University. Each year, 2 local Special Olympics teams get a D1 experience, complete with hundreds of fans, cheerleaders, and an interactive halftime show. The game is also a fundraiser for local Special Olympics teams like Michael's.
All the money that was raised here today, selling t-shirts, food, raffle tickets, and our GoFundMe all go back to the Special Olympics teams that participated here today. In the past, the teams have bought personalized shoes, they bought new uniforms.
This is something the athletes, they talk about throughout the year, and this is one of the highlights of their years, and just anything like anyone can do to help, as simple as it is just sitting at a basketball game, is incredible.
Now the game may be over, but to support these teams, you can either go online and donate or come out to future events. Reporting at Northeastern University for WEBN News, I'm Kayla LaRosa.
That certainly seemed like a blast, John, and a pretty good game.
It sure did, Juliana. They looked like they were pros out there. It is really that easy to get involved in the Special Olympics.
And fundraisers like those really do play a large part in helping Massachusetts Special Olympics, accounting for nearly 47% of the organization's support.
Events account for nearly 45% of the support, with grants equaling about 8%.
Coming up on this WEBN special, we get both a coach's and a reporter's take on the power of sports.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to this WEBN special, The Power of Sports.
At this point, we've heard of many athletes using sports to overcome challenges.
And oftentimes, the coaching plays a supporting role.
Kristen McDonnell has been the head girls basketball coach at Braintree High for the last decade.
And she shares some advice.
Fortunately, the ups have outweighed the downs a lot. I'm lucky because I'm blessed with a lot of talent in Braintree, and it continues to kind of come in through our youth program. But yeah, there's definitely challenges. I think dealing with different types of people and parents, other coaches, administrators. You're dealing with student athletes of all different levels, and some who I think kind of the fun part is that you deal with kids that love basketball and all they want to do is play, and then you deal with kind of that next range of kids that really like it, but it's just it's a good extracurricular for them and they want to be around a team, and then you have those other kids that really don't care about basketball at all. They just truly love like being around that environment. So it's kind of getting them all to meld. And something that gets missed is that you can't teach it. You can't teach character. You can't teach chemistry. And I think you can. You know, I really think that's a coach's job, is to prioritize that piece of like the intangible world of basketball in any sport. We spend a lot of time doing team bonding things off the court to be able to like have that relationship on the court and that trust. We constantly joke around in practice. Like, we try to keep things pretty light, and then when it needs to be serious, it can get serious really quick, and I think the kids know that balance because of it. But everything we do, we talk about character. We talk about, you know, those qualities that they can bring to the court and to life, and how it's going to help them as they go along. And it's something we take a lot of pride in. You know, we even do at the beginning of every season, we have skits that we put on in terms of how kids should act in certain situations, whether it's on the court or off the court, and they have to act out certain things. Like, if a ref, you know, blows a whistle on a call they don't agree with, how do they interact with the ref? Or do they interact with the ref, or do they just get back on defense? And we do all sorts of things. How's the bench supposed to act? You know, are they into it, or if they're not playing well, are they completely out of it and not really caring about the team? And I think it's good. It teaches them, they know the expectation right away.
While the coaches instruct these players, many of their stories wouldn't be told if it wasn't for the journalist.
Greg Levinsky is a correspondent for the Boston Globe, and he's also a play-by-play broadcaster.
Our reporter Carly Dion sat down with Levinsky.
And he shared some of his stories.
And now let's meet the starting nine for Boston University, leading off from Santa Barbara, California, the right fielder, number 10, A.J. Huerta-Leitner.
That's the voice of Greg Levinsky. He spends his time at BU covering all things related to sports.
I started wanting to do sports reporting. I wanted to be talk about the basketball game or the baseball game. Why didn't they go to this reliever in the 8th instead of the 7th or whatever? But I think now I'm more interested in the human interest aspect. I mean, just the stories that I was able to tell through the City League kids. I mean, they go through a lot. You know, there was one girl who had lost her mother the year before, and you know, she was saying how basketball is her passion, and that's what she shared with her mom. And every game she wears a shirt that says her last name is Gully, it says Team Gully. She wears that every game before in warm-ups, and how basketball and her, that was their connection.
In one story Greg wrote on a senior softball player, he learned how this D1 athlete may not have stayed at BU if it weren't for her love of the game and the team.
There's a lot of stuff that you can find out that is you just gotta ask. It doesn't say on her GoTerriers.com bio, almost didn't play softball, or not on scholarship or something like that. I think it's just learning to continue to have a genuine curiosity in something, and when you have an instinct that something might be interesting, then to go after it. I think that it's really powerful to be able to kind of share those stories and go beyond the box score. In my reporting, I really don't I don't love to talk about the game. I'm not an expert. I mean, yeah, I know basketball, but I don't know if they ran the right pick and roll set there. But I can tell you what's going on in that person's life, and you know, hopefully I can kind of portray that story the right way.
Greg's continued passion for sports reporting comes from the incredible people he meets both on and off the field. Reporting in Boston, I'm Carly Dion, WEBN News.
We hope you gained an understanding that sports are about more than just wins and losses from these powerful stories. I'm John Newton.
And I'm Juliana Bruno. Thank you for watching this WEBN special, The Power of Sports.